Hello everybody, this be Plutouthere, and today we're going to be going over how to make a jungle tree, just like the one you see in front of you right now. I had one request to do this, so I'm doing it. I think I'm just gonna kind of go over how to make pretty much all of these trees here. I've already gone over how to make all of these except for the willow and the bonsai trees so far, and those obviously, but I don't know if I want to go over those yet. Anyway, I'll probably make a tutorial on how to make willows, bonsai, and jungle, and this will be the first of the three. So here we go. If you're wondering, this is going to be my tree pack for the future. You guys get a sneak peek of it. I'm basically going to make this tree and include it in the tree pack. Alright, so first things first, get your choice of wood, which in this case would be jungle, not oak, because we're making a jungle tree, and that kind of makes sense. Now, I'm doing this so that I'm moving this up in the air so that I can make roots. You guys definitely don't have to do that. You can just build it on the ground. But I'm going to show you how to do roots as well. I do want to say first that I didn't remember what a jungle tree looked like at first, so I went back and I looked at reference pictures for this one, and now that I know how to do it, I can do it. If it is your first time making any kind of trees, you should probably look at a reference picture and not just go off plain memory. Whoops. That's a no-brainer, but most people don't do that for some reason. And I don't know why. Okay, let's start out by making the trunk here. And for jungle trees, they have some huge, massive roots that kind of make the whole tree. The whole trunk is just kind of like a big root. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go up about halfway, or I'm going to make the whole trunk here, make it about as high as I want to. And then we're just going to go from this center point and we're going to build down and outward for the root slash trunk. And we're going to do this a couple more times on a few different sides here. That might have been too much, so I'm going to get rid of that a little bit. I don't want to make them too big, but you do want to make them big, if that makes sense. Alright, now we got a start of another root. Let's make another one over here. And this is just kind of eyeballing it. You don't really have to make it perfect right away. You'll go back and smooth it anyway. And then I'll make one more going the opposite of that one, so right here. You can make, I'd probably suggest making about 4 or 5 of these. If you're making it this big. If you're making a smaller one, I would make like 3 max. And now we're just gonna do, I'm gonna build from the center, and I'm basically just gonna fill this in like a wall. I'm not going to go around and do this, because if I did that, then this would be some huge root, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is make basically this into a wall, and I want there to be a huge kind of indent where this root is, and I'll show you what I mean when I get closer to, or when I fill in all these roots here. So I'm going to do that for the other 2 here really quick. I'll try to keep this tutorial a bit shorter than I have the rest in the past. Okay, so now that we have that, as you can see, this root right here looks a bit too big to me, for my liking anyway. And this one too. So I'm going to thin these down just a tad. I'm going to make sure they still have that nice curve to them though. I don't want to get rid of that when I thin it down. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is make sure that this has an indent. So as you can see, this one obviously has this indent. Jungle trees have these big thin roots that kind of make up the trunk. So what I'm going to do here is make sure that these roots make an indent over here. And I want too much of an indent, but I want to make sure that it's making an indent. So in other words, I don't want the root to do this. I don't want it to go around in a circle like I said before. I don't want there to be like a nice curve up and to be like perfectly round on all sides. I want there to be an indent here, because that's how jungle trees look. Yeah. And go around here. Maybe thicken out this root just a tad here, because I don't want it just to be one thin root there. There might be too much. Need to indent that more. Alright. Now, do that for the other sides here. Just want to make sure that it looks decent. And maybe thicken out this root here. Make a day. Okay. And I think that should do it. So now we have our roots, and this is going to be a little bit bigger than that one, I guess, because of the way I've made the roots here. Made the roots a little bit bigger on this one. That's okay. We'll just make it a bigger tree. Now what I'm going to do for the branches is I'm going to make them more thin than I do for, say, those trees. So for those trees, I go around and I make them really curvy. But for this one, I'm basically going to go out and I'm just going to curve it outward, and that's it. So now we have that branch going out to the side. And then I'm going to make about 2 more. I'm going to make one a little bit lower here. Not too much lower. Going out over to this side. And then maybe one more kind of going... Let's go maybe the same diagonal as that one. So we're not going to have any branches going that way for this one. You can do branches going that way if you really want. It's not going to kill your tree. But yeah. And now we're going to thicken out these branches a little bit, fill them in. Just to make them a little thicker, because they look a bit weird being so as thin as they are right now. And then once we do this, we're going to make a couple more branches coming off of these. So maybe like 1 or 2. No, well, maybe more than 1 or 2. More like 5, maybe 6 smaller branches coming off of these these 3 bigger branches here. And these will be the guides for the leaves. I think I'm going to do another one coming off of this one. And I don't want them to go up. I don't want to make a branch just going straight up like this, because if I do that, then it'll look really weird when I try to put leaves on it. If I put leaves on that, I'll have to fill in for all that space that I just made there. You could do that, but it probably wouldn't end up looking that great. So what I would suggest is don't go straight up with your branches, just kind of curve them up a little bit. If you want them to go up, you slowly give them a slope up. Don't just build this branch straight up into the air. I guarantee that won't look good. So there we go. A couple more branches there. Make a branch here. So these branches aren't too important, but they are important. I know a lot of people, and this is pretty much a lot of people, will just make those 3 branches, and then they'll put leaves. And they'll be like, okay, well, now I'm done because I did leaves. And rule of thumb is don't do that, ever. I know it takes more time to do these smaller branches, but it ends up making a much better looking tree. I promise you. Not only because the tree has more branches and it looks like a real tree before you even put leaves, but because I call it the smaller branch effect. I kind of just made that up, but basically when you look at the tree from afar, you can see like these little smaller branches going up into the leaves. And if you don't do that, like if you don't make those smaller branches, you won't be able to see that, and it doesn't look as good. So now, after I explain that, we're going to do the leaves. So this is also a mistake people make a lot, I've noticed. Even from my tutorials, they forget to do this. So make sure you do this command, mask 0. This is one of the most important commands. If you don't do this, your branches will disappear. And if you do it too much, you won't be able to undo it all, which is not good. So make sure you do mask 0. Okay, now we're going to do the rest, BR sphere, and we'll do 10% 18, and this time we're going to do 15 because that's jungle leaves, non-decaying jungle leaves, comma 90% 0, and we're going to make brush size 3. It should be good. Yeah, 3 is a good size for this size tree. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill these in, and as you've noticed, I haven't changed the logs yet, and don't really worry about that. I'll change them in a second here. I just want to do the leaves first, and then we'll change the logs of the tree. And I also haven't changed the logs because I haven't really finished the roots yet. I like to do the roots last. That's just me. You can do the roots and then change the logs and then do the leaves. It's totally up to you what order you do this stuff in. You just have to make sure you don't put the leaves until you put the smaller branches. That's the only real order you have to follow when making a tree. So once I have all these leaves, this is the easy part for the leaves, and then we'll have to go back once we do the roots and make those nice vines coming off the tree. And what I would suggest, if you're going to make this, use your trees in like downloads and stuff, I would suggest once you've made those vines and stuff, you need to go back and change all of the leaves into 18, 13 through 15. And that is because if you do leaves by hand, those leaves will decay. And these leaves, 12 through 15, 18, 12 through 15 are non-decaying. So if you're going to put them up in a download for a single player, you want to make sure you do that, because otherwise the leaves will decay and people will complain. And we all know none of us really like complaining people, so yeah. Alright, now let's go ahead and make the smaller roots here. For this, it's pretty much just straightforward. You just make roots going down. If you're doing this on the ground, you don't really need to do this as much. Really on the ground, you would just do maybe like another root here and then maybe down. Or you wouldn't even do down. You would just do a root there and then maybe like a root coming off over here. But yeah, so once you put it in the ground, it'll make more sense. Yeah, sorry. So there we go. Make a couple more coming off of these other roots here. Maybe a couple in the middle here just to make it look kind of neat. You don't have to do these roots in the middle that I'm doing. You can if you want, but not 100% important. Alright, now the fun part is these. So what I'm going to do here is put a bunch of fence to make that stringiness coming off the roots, like roots have in real life. I'm going to kind of go up into the trunk a little bit just because it's a jungle tree. And I think for this tree I'll add more leaves than I did for that one. I'll probably end up doing it to that one too, but you'll see what I mean in a second here. Alright. I think that's good. Yeah, that looks decent to me. Don't really have to do that too much. Don't worry about it. Alright, I'm going to change the logs now because I'm done with that. Let's change this to post 2. / replace 17 with 1715 for jungle logs. And there we go. So now we have that. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add those nice vines that I did for that tree. So I'm going to get these leaves and I'm going to basically come with 2 points here. I'm going to build down a little bit and then maybe another point over here. And then I'm going to connect these points with a nice curve here. And now we have that nice curved vine looking thing. And then maybe in the middle of this, I'm going to add like a little droop there. And I'm going to do one more right here, just because it might look nice. There's one there. Connect them. Oops. If you miss a little bit, that's okay. Don't worry. And now I'm going to go in maybe over here. Doesn't really matter. You can just randomly put these and just add some droop here. Add a droop maybe closer into the trunk here. And then for this tree, and what I'm probably going to do that tree too, is I'm going to add a little bit of vines. So I'm going to kind of go around this trunk and add some leaves on it. just to give it a more like rainforesty feel, because you know rainforests are very abundant with life. So there you go. Maybe a little more leaves here. And don't be afraid to do this all by hand. I mean, you can do these leaves by hand. It takes longer, trust me, I know, but you can do it. It's not like it's gonna. And if you happen to not do the percent thing where it makes these nice little, you know, air bubbles in your leaves, you can just go back in and punch them in yourself. It would take a while, but you can do it, and it makes a much nicer tree than if you tried to just do solid leaves. And don't be afraid to go back in and maybe, you know, fill in a little bit. If something doesn't look as maybe full as it needs to be, then fill it a little bit. And now we have a nice jungle tree. So that's pretty much all you really need to do. That would be the end of the tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Oh yeah, sorry. Just kidding. Don't do that. What you need to do first, remember when I said you need to change all the leaves again? Because I place leaves by hand. I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick to show you guys what I mean. Goes to place 18, 18, 15. And now all the leaves are non-decaying leaves, even the ones I placed by hand. Alright, and that would conclude it. Sorry guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. See ya.